Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. This is now the third and final part of Cut Off with No Severance, along with XJoe81X. And in this part, we're going to find out about the legal action that Joe had taken against Jen for all of the hell that she put him through. And then we're just going to pretty much wrap everything up right there. And that's going to do it. So anyway, here's the video already in progress.
Okay, so a couple weeks go by, a couple months go by, and I'm trying to look into what can I do? Because I'm in debt, so much money from the move. You know, now I'm living with his sister, everything is 50-50. Hey, the cable bill's $86, here's 83. Like down to the penny, it was great. The rent, the cable, everything was just, hey, this is due, we sat down, it was in my name. Oh, I'm sorry, everything was in my name too. So it's almost like subconsciously she knew this was just a revolving door. And his sister came and we were just like, okay, cable bill's 150, okay, 75. Like we just worked. It just worked. So my head was cleared and that was great. So someone was like, you could civilly sue her underneath a certain amount in New York. I think at the time was like 5,000.
Yeah.
But you have to sue, if you don't know where she lives, you have to sue her in the town she works. So I go to Manhattan, I find out the address, the county, the district, whatever it is. I walk in, I say, I want to civilly sue my ex-girlfriend. And she's like, okay, no problem. Where does she work and what's her name? Her name is this and she works here. Okay, where does she live? I don't know. Okay, honey, no problem. She filed this whole thing, pen and paper, and I went up to maybe like 48, 55, whatever. And I'm working and the phone rings. Hello? Hi, this is Edo Baum and fucking you? Oh, yes.
This is Dewey, Cheatham, and Hal.
Right. Dewey. And are you Joseph so-and-so? Yes. I'm representing Jennifer so-and-so? Oh, okay. So I turned around and everything now is comical. And I'm like, oh, she got you too, huh? And it was almost like, and she actually told me, this is where he's going to keep laughing. She did it pro bono because she was walking her dogs. So she didn't even have to pay these legal fees. She's like, you suing my client? I said, yes, I am. Okay, do you have any receipts and all this stuff? Absolutely. Okay, unfortunately, legally, rent is in your name. This is in her name. Now you're getting down to the nitty gritty. We bought a sleep number bed.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
At the Myrtle Beach strip mall. That was however much, probably $1,800 at the time. She says it was a gift. It's not a gift.
She liked it soft, and he liked it hard.
Right, cold, hot rod. So anyway, from what I gather, I didn't go to arbitration, and she settled on just above half. I really just wanted the bed, because the bed was almost like, it wasn't a gift. Why would I gift a bed? And it was the bills. And the lawyer said yes, she is responsible for half the living expenses. So it was the bed, the bills, and the rent. And she got away with the food and all the crap that you think that, So it was the rent. So it was her half of the rent and her half of the bills, which thank God I keep, and then the bill and then her half of the mattress. And we took that up and we totaled it.
And then you got a chainsaw and cut the bed in half.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I think I sued her for 48 and I got 29. And I'll tell you something, for someone over the last year and a half who had not a pot to piss in nor a window to throw it out of, sure as effing motherfucking shit, that $2,900 came from a bank check. I still have it. It's not worth looking for it now, but I still have it cashed, or a picture, or maybe even Jay scanned it, or I don't know how, whatever. And it was from her to me, $2,900. and I cashed it, and I had to sign a legal binder. I had to go to the lawyer's place of business and sign a binder stating you can never re-sue, double jeopardy or something.
Right.
You can never re-sue in New York for statute of limitations of 10 more years, you still owe me for that candlestick. So I had the sign saying I received this much money on this time and this date, and I will never in the history of my eternal life sue this person's name and date of birth again. And I have those documents, and that was it. That's it. That's the Jennifer Severance story.
So it's actually interesting because you were indeed cut off with no severance, but yet you did get severance pay.
I got a severance pay. That's it.
I had forgotten all about that.
Yeah,
lawsuit.
I mean, there's little things. You know,
There's tons of little stories.
you could
here
type
and
in her
there.
full name in Facebook right now, and I'm sure it'll come up unless it's. But that's not this story. But that was it. That was the.
She probably don't look like she did in them pictures.
No, and I tell some people this story, the suing story, and they get very like, "You sued your ex-girlfriend?" I'm like, "Yeah." Some women get very like, they get very not appalled. They get very like, "Wow, you got cojones," because right now it's more paper sometimes than what it's worth. But at that time, no, I got it. I got a folder downstairs in my file cabinet from probably 2008.
You officially lived one of the lines in Billy Joel's song "Scenes from an Italian Restaurant."
Okay.
From the high to the low to the end of the show for the rest of their lives.
That's it.
That officially wraps it up.
That's the story.
It was a Brenda and Eddie, but this is Joe and Jen.
That's it. I've never seen her since. I don't have her cell phone number, and now it's 17 to 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 15 years? It's the better part of
16, yeah, 15 years.
This
Good.
past summer was the better part of 15 years. You know, maybe, somebody, typed her name in and found out maybe she had a child. There is something, though.
Somebody.
Well, this is the funny part. So, if you want
There's always more.
So if you want to stop right now, this is the Jen story concluded. Hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you. Boop. Now let's go back to like the after story when the cameras are rolling, but we're all like drunk drinking beers. So Facebook allows you to put her name in. So you put her name in. I found out that she like hung out with some like weird guy, Middle Eastern guy.
Oh yeah.
High-end cars, and she was in Manhattan, and she was like living the life, hoity-toity. She was in another Hollywood relationship. Then I'm looking it up, and then she went back to Myrtle, and she hooked up with all her old friends, probably literally, and she went back, and she's in Myrtle, and he's not there. Now, I'd like to think that I have a little bit keen sense of putting a puzzle together. So we went from disappearing to typing in her name and seeing that she's in a relationship. They're holding hands. It wasn't private. It was almost like, who cares? And you can't tell if someone looks at it. So then they went away, and then the next thing you know, now she's in Myrtle because everyone likes to just tell everybody about their life. Back home away from home. He's not around. Then I'm noticing, I wonder why he's not around. So I think I put 2 to 2 together. He didn't want to go. And she says, well, I'm going. So there was another FU relationship.
Judge Jen.
This time he stayed.
It was her ruling, and that's that.
And she went down to Myrtle. I swear. There was no other puzzle piece. Because she's in Myrtle and he's not. So, okay, maybe she turned around and said, F you, I'm taking my car back down. He's not there. And then that was it. Then you fast forward at unknown time. Definitely not in the last 4 years, but definitely 5 to 8. And then you type in her name, and boom, she went apple picking, huh? She's on a front porch in matching red
Outfits.
Outfits. What's that called? With the red patches. Flannel. And she's holding a child. And she's with a man and her, and she's got a child on her knee that couldn't be more than 8 months old. Whether that child is 2, 6, 8, or 12, right? Whatever. She had a child.
Do we know if it was male or female?
I think it was a girl.
Gonna grow up to be just like she was.
And that's the last time I checked. I don't know where that is. Myrtle's really not really big. It's lacking the C4 seasons, but you still can paint the picture because it's still autumn and fall. So I don't know where she went. I don't know who she met. I can tell you that the guy she's with is not the guy that I thought she slept with across the hall. That's it. That's not it. There was, okay, now there's another little story. This time this is her. You guys know Snapchat? Yes, you do. So you put in your like name and your cell phone, because that's how you could find someone. Out of nowhere, many years ago, someone started following me. Like 17,000 fucking snaps. And it was like JJS or something. I didn't think of it. I looked at the snaps. It was fucking Jen, guys. Psycho had 17,000 snaps, which would make sense because she's on her phone. Now it's years ago. This goes back to years ago. Because TikTok started during COVID. So this was before TikTok. And I was reluctant, so I hit accept. And I was watching her snaps. And then a day or two later, poof, gone. That was it. That is the God honest truth. That's the last time. But let me tell you something. My cell phone number was in her phone because my names are encrypted on my social media accounts, and there's no way in God's green earth that she would know what my name is, and we don't have any mutual friends. She had my cell phone number in her cell phone, plugged it into Snap, many moons later, because I don't know how you make 17,000 snaps in one day. So this could have been an 8 to 9 month period. Found out that I'm not snapping, and somehow put 2 to 2 together and realized it was me. And she got rid of me. Or hindsight knew who the hell it was, wanted to see where I was at in life, realized I was just probably chilling, and that was it. That's the last of it. Yeah, I could plug her name in right now off camera, and I'm not going to show you pictures and go on my phone. That makes this video longer than it is. And that's it.
Yep, I think that's pretty good. Now, of course, Joe's life story goes on, but that's not the point of this. The point was how this tied in with the fire and all that, and what happened after, and that it pretty much wasn't meant to be from day one. I did tell you that back when you started going down to Myrtle to see her.
I think a lot of people told me that. You could go down to Myrtle and you could get your beak wet. You could go, you could go fishing, you could go to the reptiles, but be careful. Because we weren't dating every day. Probably would have lasted 2 months if we were living up here dating at 2 separate locations.
And, it's funny because this ties into another little thing I remember. Back when Joe's sister was going to go to college or something, she needed a laptop. Now, I'm the resident computer guy. I mean, that's obvious. We know these things. And Joe being friends with me, okay, now I get involved because I have to. And what we did was Joe, myself, and his father went out, and we went to a couple of stores to see. I don't think I was working at Tiny Middle at the time, and if I was at the Wiz, I don't know where anything, what the deal was, the time frame of anything. Anyhow, the long and short of the story was that we ended up going. His dad bought me lunch. We ended up going to a place here called Ben's Deli, and it's a Jewish deli. I still go there. You still go there.
Yeah.
From time to time.
Ben's Delicatessen.
Yep. You can look it up. bensdeli.com, I think.
It's a Jewish menu.
It's a Jewish deli,
Supposed to
Jewish
be.
menu. You got to know a little bit of Yiddish to understand a couple of the jokes in there.
Right. And today's Rosh Hashanah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
Yep, yep. That just so happened to be.
Right. Hey.
You know, I'm making videos, so I'm working on the holiday.
Yep,
as
you
usual.
know, and he's making gefilte fish later.
Ay, what a thing. Anyways, we're sitting there at the table in Ben's, and I don't know who we were talking. Jen was not even in the picture. This was before then, I believe. And we're shooting the shit and whatever. And I think I was just getting involved with the whiff as a girlfriend. And, you know, we were kind of talking about that. And his dad said something that I remember to this day. He said, I think it ought to be a law that you need to live with somebody for 6 to 9 to maybe even 12 months before committing to get married. Because you may not like the fact that she leaves her dirty underwear on the floor.
Yeah, something like.
And she may not like the fact that you do something else.
Right.
That you bite your nails or something. You know, something like that. The little things that you don't find out about somebody when you're just in getting your beak wet.
Yeah.
The things you don't find out about. You only find out about that living with them day to day to day. And that was one of the greatest lines that I remember his dad ever spoke. And you didn't follow your dad's advice. But then again, I can't blame him for that because I didn't follow my dad's advice. And he didn't follow his, and I'm sure plenty of you didn't follow your father's advice or your mother's advice. Either way, you know, they would tell you, don't touch that. It's hot. And then you go, ah! You had to learn the hard way. Nowadays, they sue. Back in the day, you learned your lesson and you got real smart real quick.
Yeah.
You were a dumbass to start with, and then you touched the hot stove and you got smart real quick. And it smarts.
Yeah, smart.
But anyway, I think we're done enough babbling here, but
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's water under the bridge at this point.
That's the final Jen Severance.
And we will now severance that from videos about her, and that is going to wrap up this. I guess it's a series now. I don't know how long this video is, but it's going to be multiple parts, I'm sure.
Chop it up.
Anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. Special thanks once again to Xjo81X. There is a link in the description to his channel. Also, links in the description to all 4 of the previous story about the flame that went out and how all of that ties together. So everything's linked. Go watch more videos of mine. Helps me, helps the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it.
And ring that bell.
You can ding-a-ling that. They do something to do with Arby's, I think. They like when you do that, I heard.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks again. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.